Welcome to our next podcast in the Sex Magic series. I'm Primal Piggy. You can find me on Facebook at The Primal Piggy, all one word, or as an admin of a rather large Facebook page called Whips, Chains, and Duct Tape. You can find that on Facebook at WCDT BDSM or on the web at BDSMUnited.com. Thank you for listening today to this BDSM United podcast. And we've been going through an introduction on magic to talk about sex magic ultimately for this series. And today I have my notes in front of me. And one of the really important parts of all BDSM is safety. We use the motto RACK, RACK, which stands for Risk-Aware Consensual Kink. We say that all BDSM you need to be aware of the risks. You need to make sure that you have explicit consent, and you have to make sure that it's fun for everybody involved, or else it's not really a kink. So let's go through a Sex Magick safety checklist. These are some good things about being risk aware and also making sure that we even apply safety to our sex magic and any type of spiritual BDSM that we do. Number one, first, never use any toy or tool for ritual BDSM that you've never used before or that you're not skilled with. The place for trying that sort of thing out is casual BDSM, where mistakes aren't as much of a big deal. It may not even be a question of skill. New toys could have shoddy workmanship that isn't apparent until the first use. And when things pull apart or snap, it's better to find that out during casual kinky play or sex play rather than when the bottom is halfway to the underworld. Number two, check over all old friendly toys for problems, cracked or loose bits. Clean anything that needs cleaning. Make sure that you have a place to lay things out that isn't underfoot or easily knocked over. Racks on the wall are good for that kind of thing. Number three, make sure that there is water on hand for both participants or all participants of a ritual or working in a place that's easy to reach but unlikely to get knocked over. If you don't want to take your bottom out of bondage, if they merely have to urinate, make sure there's a container that you can hold under their urethra to collect it, and a place to put that container where it won't spill. If either player is hypoglycemic, keep a quick and easy to eat protein thing around. Any type of like a protein bar, perhaps. Sometimes a yogurt drinks are good. Like little yogurt smoothies are good for this kind of thing. Blood sugar in general should be accounted for, especially if either party is likely to be too excited to eat first. Number four, make sure that there's a well-stocked first aid kit on hand. Make sure that you've got bolt cutters in case something metal freezes up on you. Sometimes clip links like to do that. Make sure that any handcuffs or locking things have more than one key, kept in different places in the same area. One should ideally be kept on the body of the top in this scene. We like to say this. If you are new or inexperienced to any type of bondage, we recommend that you don't use anything that requires a key, a knot, any type of cutting involved. Nothing like a zip tie, handcuffs, nothing like rope. You shouldn't be using any of those things. If you want to begin with bondage, we recommend bedroom bondage restraints, and we recommend something that is like a neoprene with a Velcro that you can easily get in and out of. And we recommend that anything you tie somebody down, any kind of hard points, be rather loose so that somebody isn't totally immobilized. That's just the best course if you are not used to, or if bondage is new to you. You can also experiment with mental bondage, and that is commanding your bottom to stay still or silent or stay in place, and expecting them to do so, and for the bottom to be obedient to those things. Number 5, if you are using lit candles indoors, have a fire extinguisher handy, and we really mean it. Friends have lost their houses to ritual candle fires. No candles should be left unattended in a room or on a rickety shelf or anywhere within range of swinging toys, tossed bodies, or flying hair. If you're using candle wax on someone as pain play or wax play, make sure that um, you have the right candles and not the beeswax type. And check to make sure that no one is sensitive to any kind of candle perfume. Have plastic ready to put underneath the recipient of the wax. Don't count on not getting any on the carpet. That wax likes to go everywhere. And if someone is sensitive to candle play, some of that saran wrap, that cling wrap that you use to cover, that clear plastic wrap that you use to cover like leftovers, have a roll of that on hand, because you can put just one layer of that over the skin and it makes the wax easier to clean up. We also recommend that, if possible, you use LED candles. I have some LED candles here that I use where they look just like regular candles. They act just like regular candles, but they have an LED light that is battery powered in them instead of actual fire. If you're wanting to put something underneath, large trash bags cut open and laid flat work well and can be bundled up quickly afterwards and disposed of. If any candle wax participants have long hair, have hair ties ready just in case. And if you use incense, make sure the room is well ventilated and nobody's allergic to the variety that you're using. Make sure also that they're not really overly sensitive to smells. I know that sometimes my submissive can have is really sensitive to strong perfumes, and so I may not use incense around her. Make sure, number 6, make sure that you have plenty of lube. We prefer to pour some into a bowl rather than having a squeaky lube bottle if you're doing a high ritual. If you're worried about getting bugs into it, cover it with a cloth. Remember to treat an open lube bowl like any other thing that will touch somebody's bodily fluids multiple times and possibly cross contaminate. If you're going back and forth between two non fluid bonded people, it might be wise to have more than one bowl of lube. Even if or one bottle of lube. You may want one bottle of lube for each person, and treat bottles of lube like they are fluid bonded. Because oftentimes you're putting them on fingers and penises and vaginas, and you're putting them on body parts, and then you're using those same hands to squeeze the bottles and open and close the bottles, and so treat them like they're fluid bonded items. Even if you're fluid bonded, number 7, it may be wise for the top to have latex or PVC gloves on hand to do sticky things with. Um, when the bottom's wrist starts to spasm and they need to get down from the bondage right away, it's useful to be able to whip off your gloves and have dry hands to fumble with the clip links or the locks or the rope if you're already experienced in bondage and you're using those things. Try to undo bondage with your hands slippery with lube and body fluids. It can make you want to scream, especially when you're in a hurry due to the wrong kind of pain. It goes without saying that if you're using safe sex, have plenty of latex or saran wrap or whatever you use ready to go. Running out of condoms or gloves in the middle of a scene can be really frustrating. Number 8, have a stack of body fluid rags around to wipe hands, thighs, sticky genitals, to mop sweaty brows, etc. Anything that you can think of. Paper towels are rough and they hurt, unless really that's the idea, and tissues shred on wet skin. Um, Use old clean t-shirts rather than linty like bath towels. Don't underestimate how many of them you'll need, especially if people's fluids are not supposed to touch each other. Number 9, if you're to be if there were to be grand ritual gestures or even the waving of large toys, make sure that there is actually room for this. This is often the why people don't very much use whips in scenes, especially bedroom scenes, is because there's just not enough room to move the whip around. So having a 6, 8, 10, 12 foot bullwhip in a scene in a bedroom or in a house is really impractical. You're just probably going to hit the ceiling or the wall or knock over a lamp or have trouble even making the aim to aim it into the right place. And so if you're using any grand gestures or waving large toys, make sure that you've accounted for the room that you're in. And practice it beforehand, keeping in mind how much smaller a space gets when there are props and multiple bodies around. And be aware of overhead light fixtures and fans. You can get a toy caught in a fan, especially like a whip, and it'll yank the thing right out of your hand, and then it'll be flailing around. I am Primal Piggy. These were some Sex Magick safety tips, just some general tips. We'll talk more in future episodes about some of the other things like communication and aftercare and some of those things. I promise that now we've done a few exercises, some basic ones in some of the previous episodes, but we're really trying to lay a solid groundwork, a solid foundation for both magical practice and for Sex Magick. We want everyone to practice. Everyone who tries or attempts to practice these workings, because we're giving you very practical workings that are oftentimes secretive and oftentimes withheld from the general public, but we're revealing those to you and teaching you how you can practice Sex Magick. And so we want to make sure that you're doing so, and that we're paying enough time and attention to laying a foundation of what our definitions are, talking a little about where it comes from, answering some questions, and doing some safety. And we just want to lay that solid foundation for you. So please be patient, because more exercises really are coming as this series unfolds. I'm Primal Piggy. You can find me on Facebook at The Primal Piggy. You can also find me on Facebook as an admin of Whips, Chains, and Duct Tape. You can find that at WCDT BDSM. You can also find us on the web at www.bdsmunited.com. Thank you for listening to us. If you're listening on your favorite platform, we ask that you spread the word. Let other people know about this series, and maybe leave a review so that people can hear what you like about our podcast. Thank you very much for listening.